I'm so excited for you to meet Jade today. So, we are here with Jade. She owns a website and design company. So, I want to tell you just a little bit about Jade. So, she is the founder of J Alexandria Creative, which is a design and branding agency that specializes in helping brands build websites that turn heads and make sales. Can I get an amen for the sales? Before she started her own business, she worked as a designer in the in-house marketing department of a multi-billion-dollar financial institution and at an ad agency working on radio and TV commercials and multimedia campaigns. Some of Jade's past clients have products in Fresh Market and have had six-figure results directly from working with Jade and her team. So Jade's belief is that every small business deserves gorgeous, high-end branding. So she's translated the marketing strategies from her corporate background into solutions that serve small business owners like you, probably listening to this podcast or watching this YouTube video. So Jade is, it's an honor that Jade is one of my clients. So I'm so excited to introduce her to you. So Jade, just, I know I gave you a little bit of an intro, but tell everybody just a little bit more about you and why you love just working with branding.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. My love of branding and web design kind of started, honestly, I grew up in small business, and so my parents were small business owners, and I was just always in that world. And then once I graduated college and was kind of in that corporate environment, I quickly realized small business was, excuse me, corporate was not for me, and small business was really like where I wanted to be. And I wanted to take everything that we learned and all of the strategies we were implementing for our large scale, like corporate clients in the agency world and in my corporate job, and transfer those over to small business owners because they need the same level of strategy and implementation. And I just felt like I saw a huge gap there that could be served. So I just love making things and creating an experience around those brands, you know?
Mm-hmm. You know, what's funny is it's with corporate. It's like I'm so glad that we both worked in corporate because without that experience, we probably wouldn't be where we are today, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
And I also feel like it gives us a sense of appreciation for getting to work with small business owners after having been in the corporate world. Like it's a love-hate relationship. It's like I'm glad I was there. The experience was great. I'm sure you feel the same way. And
Yes.
also it led us to where we are today, you know?
Oh yeah. I mean, I feel like I learned so much in my
Mm.
time during corporate. It's like seeing how these large scale companies run and implement strategies and things like that, and taking that knowledge and applying it into just a different context. It's so valuable. So I definitely would not trade like my time in corporate. It's just you see um the long term of like what do I want my like career to look like and that kind of thing. So that's really where it landed for me, was like figuring out like I maybe didn't really want my boss's job, you know? Like
I know. And we also in the corporate world versus in entrepreneurship, we're trained to feel like you just make incremental small changes in your success over like a long period of time.
yeah.
And Jade and I were voxering yesterday because she's actually in my mastermind, which is my highest value offer that I have. And Jade's about to create an even better offer, like something that is so valuable that she is so qualified to create. And also, she's going to create that in the next 30 days and sell it. And it's going to go so well because it's what people are looking for and want. And so I love with entrepreneurship that you can just have very different results so much more quickly. Whereas you're kind of trapped in corporate a little bit, you know? Like that's how the
Yeah.
system has to work.
Yes, it's like slow and steady in corporate, and small business can be like 0 to 100 like so quickly, which I love. I like to implement quickly and, you know, take action fast so you can see results faster, like just like what you're saying. So totally agree.
Exactly. And another thing I know about Jade, because again, she is in the mastermind. So we got to spend a week together last week. So she drove in, it was 3.5 day workshop. And one of the things that I saw from Jade is just the connection that you make with those other women. Like you thrive in that environment where you're getting to be like one on one or like in a small group setting. And I think that's for me, and maybe you can tell me if this is true for you too, but in corporate, you are helping these other massive companies be successful. And that's really fulfilling too. it's also fulfilling to sit next to someone in a room that's a mom with two businesses or, seven kids and all these responsibilities, but you know that she's actually been able to, in the last 6 months, 10x her revenue. Like it's cool sitting next to that person. Like
Yeah.
it's like you're seeing in the flesh and blood, like the actual payoff of the work that you're doing. Whereas in corporate, it's a little bit harder to see like your direct payoff. But like you're
Mhm.
getting to see with these people's websites, just the transformation that it really can make in their entire business when they have the right branding and messaging and copy.
100%. It's like corporate, you kind of, hit your benchmarks at the end of the year and it's like, yay, we did it. And that's kind of like on to the next, you know what I mean? But
Hmm.
seeing the direct impact of um how small business like affects like not only like just our the individual businesses but like our community, like
Mm.
90% of like our economic impact in our communities is from small business. And so it's not just like a website or a brand, it's like we're helping like individual communities like thrive, and we're helping, like you're saying, like moms feel proud of like what they're doing in their business and proud to share their business or raise their prices or be able to afford childcare so their kids can, play with other kids and they can build more revenue in their business. It's just so much more than just a pretty logo at the end of the day.
It is. It really is. So today we're actually going to tell Jade's story of her partnering with her family's business. So Jade has her own website and design and branding business, but she also has her family business, which is what we're going to talk about because the success that you're about to hear in just 30 days time is it's incredible. And so I'm so excited to share that with you and Jade's story. So I'm going to just ask Jade a few different questions so that y'all can know not just the results, but I know all of you are listening like, okay, results are cool, but like how much did she have to spend? Like, and I would love, Jade, in a minute, I'm going to ask you about the money that you spent and I'm going to ask you about the time it took you to like do the work and just what this whole process would look like for people when they see the incredible success that you've had in a short period of time. But really quickly, before we do that, I just want to remind everyone listening that if you have not joined the Find Your Leads Challenge, it's coming up soon. AshleyBrock.com/find your leads, because just like Jade and English Point and her family's business, your business deserves to be easily found too. And what I can't guarantee is that you have these results that Jade is about to share, which is going to blow your mind. But what I can say is without becoming findable, there's a risk that this never happens. But if you are findable, it really can. So I would love for you to join the challenge. You can click the link below or go to ashleybrock.com/find your leads. All right. So Jade, the questions I have for you today, the first one is I want them to hear the story of our relationship. So we met through the sales girls and then you initially joined the program. Just kind of tell them like where you were versus the mastermind, just the progression of how we partnered together. And honestly, tell me like why you decided to do the program in the first place, why you decided to do the mastermind. Like I would love to hear our story.
Yeah, so I remember, I think it was back when the Sales Girls had Academy, and so I met you in
Yes.
there, and I don't even remember what your post was. Like honestly, it was something about you were talking about your program, and somebody else, you were having a conversation with someone else, and I just kind of like inserted myself and was like, okay, but wait, could this work for someone who already like knows marketing strategies, who's already doing marketing, and like can it help me like level up my own skill set from where I am? Because we do like marketing retainer work for clients and things like that. And so I was just thinking, I'm always thinking of like ways we can improve, our skill set. And so you were like, absolutely, this can 100% work for someone who's working with clients and things like that. And so I think that was around November. So I think I joined then for the like officially it started in January.
Yep, the
Um,
program.
Yes. And so we did that and it was a great experience. Well, we went to your event as well in January. So it was kind of like, oh, we're in Ashley's program. We're gonna go to her event. It was like, I don't know, a couple hours from us. So it's totally like doable to do that like as soon as we got back from Christmas. And it was just an amazing experience as far as like I felt that this course, you guys, is like jam-packed. I mean, like there's so much to learn and implement as you go. And so I was fired up to be able to work with Ashley, especially with someone who had like agency experience. That was huge for me because I felt like we like related in that way. And so
Mm.
I knew when you said that, I knew you had like the background of like what you need in this space. You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
just added credibility for me.
totally.
And so from there, we did the program, and I felt like I wanted more time with you ultimately because I wanted more time to get your eyes like on my ads and my business. And I was working on ads for me and ads for my parents and like trying to make everything work. And so the mastermind came at a perfect time because I was like, this is what we need. Like, this is, having basically the peace of mind that I could launch my ads and have you in my back pocket to be like, okay, this is what I would tweak, or this is what I would edit. That was huge for me. And so yeah, does that answer your question?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it really is the time. It's
Yeah.
like just getting, they say you can't see the label from inside the jar. You were in your jar. I'm outside the jar. And I'm like, hey, Jade, like these few tweaks. And what is so cool about Jade, which I've watched happen over the past 6 months, is she already did have a foundation of marketing, but watching her go all in and just figure this out so quickly. But it really just takes, like, Jade will send me a 2-minute voice memo on Voxer because she's in the mastermind. And it's like, oh, in 2 minutes, I can give her feedback on what she needs, and she just goes and implements it. Like it's actually just those little quick fine tunes that I feel like led you to the success that you're about to share with English Point. It's just like you were implementing, you were asking questions, you were implementing, you were asking questions. Um, and I just feel like that extra time is invaluable. Well, you're about to hear about it, but I really do feel like it just takes a little bit of just having like a business best friend in your back pocket who gets
Yes.
marketing, like truly your CMO on the go, being like, incoming, Jade, I would change this. Let's make sure this is set up this way, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like too, like having someone who's like totally happy to be 100% honest with you. Like I know if I send you something and like you're not gonna just say like, oh, you're doing a great job because you want to make me feel good. Like if you don't like something, like you will tell me, and you'll obviously tell me in a constructive like way,
Find
but
way.
you'll tell me, and then you'll give me like, this is how I would change it. So it's like I know exactly what to do when I get off of like our Voxer conversation, or when I leave the mastermind. It's like I know what I need to implement, and it's just having like, I mean, honestly, it's like the like having I did dance in high school, and so it was
Oh,
like having someone to show you like, hey, move this way or make this tiny tweak or whatever. It's like the difference between like a coach like telling you, you know, move your arm like, just slightly this way, or you know what I mean. It's just
yes.
little things that make such a big difference.
Yeah, it's the fine tunes. And that is something that I feel is so important is being the person that tells you when there's something on your face. You know what I'm saying? Like like you want I am that business friend for you. And you are so receptive to feedback. And I always ask people before we work together, I'm like, hey, how receptive are you to feedback? Because what I don't want is for you to launch ads and then be terrible. Like
Yeah.
but sometimes it's hard to give that hard feedback. Like, I don't like this.
Hmm.
Re-record it. But also let's take some good from it. Let's learn from it, but also re-record it. Or no, pause that ad, let's fix it. And sometimes that feedback is hard to give, but it's the feedback that is the best because it truly shows that someone cares about you when they're like, hey, don't go
Yeah.
out there looking like that. Let's try again.
Percent.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, everybody's sitting at the edge of their seats. I've got to imagine listening to this. Like, okay, what's this massive success? I want to hear all about it. So let's start with telling them, like, what is this family business? Let's get some extra bookings right now while we're here. Might as well. So
Yeah.
tell them about the family business and just give us a little priming. Let's set the scene.
Yeah. So, my family owns it's about 200-acre resort on Logan Martin Lake, and it's called English Point, and
In
it's a
Alabama.
combination in Alabama. Yes. So it's a combination of RV sites. So there's covered and uncovered RV sites that are like waterfront. There's covered wagons, there's bungalows, which are kind of like little, almost like little tiny cabins. There's cottages, glamping tents, tiny houses. So it's all like on this like beautiful waterfront view. And it's right next to a fishing park in the local like town. And so there's a lot of fishing tournaments and things like that that come in.
Mm.
So we'd been working on this for a few years now. And so we kind of got into the place where, we had a great website, we had great branding, like everything was kind of in place that should be. And we were just looking to really like elevate the bookings that we were getting because everyone's just like, the thing we would always hear is like, oh my gosh, this place is amazing. We've never heard of you. Or why does not everyone know about this? And it's kind of like what we were talking about where, are you like tired of being like that best kept secret, And so that's
Yeah.
how it really felt, I think. So that's kind of where we all started. And that's really what we were looking for help with Ashley with is, how can we be findable, which is like what she preaches.
Yep. I remember Jade sent me a voice memo. She was like, listen, I'm going to grow my design business 100%. And it would also pay for the investment if we could just really help this just win for this family business that we have. And so let's see. We started with, you didn't do any Google ads actually. We just did Instagram, or did we do a mix?
We have some Google ads like running in
Okay.
the background, but we put our emphasis on Instagram and Facebook. So
Okay. So you do have some people probably finding you initially from Google and then they're getting reminded on Instagram. So there is two pieces of the machine in play right now.
yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So we launched ads and we targeted new people
Hmm.
and we targeted people that had heard about you, whether it was new or recently. And now Angler's Point, I'm looking it up on Instagram. Do you know exactly how many followers you have right now?
We have like 600 followers right now,
Okay,
which
and when
is,
we first started ads, it was like 400, right?
I think so. Yeah, or a little under because we've grown our following in the past like 3 months, basically. Yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
cool.
mm-hmm.
Because I imagine since you've turned on your ads, one of the byproducts of that has been more followers.
100%.
People always like forget that part. I'm like,
Yeah.
someone messaged me the other day, like, Ashley, what are you doing to grow your following so quickly? And granted, I'm only at like 46 or 4,700, but I'm like, I'm running ads.
Yeah.
Like it's just you get sales from ads, you get awareness from ads, but you also get a lot of the right followers from ads too. So 100 new followers for this could be huge because those are 20, like let's just pretend half of those book one day.
Yeah.
That's a ton of revenue just sitting there, honestly. Um,
Hmm.
okay, so we ran Google ads, we ran meta ads. So Jade, one of the things that I talk about is building a marketing machine. People think they want a marketing funnel. They don't, they want a machine. And a machine is something that works automatically. And so now it takes time to build a machine. Think about a washing machine. It would take you some time to build all those parts. But once you do, it's kind of been, would you say that your machine has been rolling a little bit for the last like week or two without a ton of tweaks?
Yeah, 100%. Once we got the initial, I would say, like ads in place as far as like what we wanted to launch, we've really just been like fine tuning and like keeping an eye on things, maybe adding something here or there for like different promotions and things like that. But it really has been like running in the background, which is amazing.
So cool. All right. So before we say the number and the bookings and the revenue that we're about to share, can you tell everybody just how much have you spent
Hmm.
in the last 30 days, let's say? So let's do, yeah, I guess May 30th. So it's almost been a month. So in the past month, how much have you spent on ads?
So we spent $2,500
Okay.
total. Hmm.
Okay. And on average, do you happen to know on average, like in the past, let's just pretend the past 6 months before you started running ads, what was the average number of monthly bookings? I know it can vary, but what's
Yeah.
like a gut range that you have in general in a month? Yes, some have fishing tournaments, but what's like an average month of bookings?
Uh, that's a really good question. So it was kind of like these happened with, well, this is kind of our season, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
we had like March and April, I feel like were the most like direct comparison because of the
yeah.
seasonality of people wanting to come to the lake, you know what I mean? So I
Hmm.
would say maybe like 60 is like a good average, maybe 50, you know what I mean? Like so something like that. And
That's
those are during like May, March and April were like you said, like fishing tournaments, and then also the
Memorial
Talladega
Day.
Super Speedway is near us, Memorial Day. So that was kind of our direct comparison. Um,
Yeah.
hmm.
Okay, good. So you had reasons why there are going to be some influxes in those months. So we're setting
Yeah,
the stage at like like on average 50 to 60.
Hmm.
Be good.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And then let's tell everybody, Jade. So how many bookings over the last month and how much revenue has that generated from the ads? Or in total? Yeah.
Yeah. So we had around 100 bookings in the 30 days, which is crazy. And then we averaged around 90K on a projected income from that. So we're really fired up. And all of that really was just people, the right people finding us, it's just amplifying the things that we were already doing and just getting more awareness for our brand at the end of the day.
So awesome. And that's just money now. Like these are people that just booked upon finding you very quickly. Like forget about the people that found you in the last month that will book later, you know?
Cool thing too is like some of those people like booked like long term like RV sites. So like that will generate like recurring revenue because they signed on for like X period of time. You know what I mean? To stay with us. So we did get the nightly people, but then also having people who like signed on to stay for these longer term like leases for their RVs is like amazing too.
Jade, we need to do a whole separate campaign on the RVs.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Separate subject in Voxer that we can talk about. But okay, so was this the best month in bookings that you've had for the
Yeah.
business?
100%. 100%.
That makes me so excited. Yeah, I couldn't wait to share this with everybody because that having your best month in business 30 days after running ads, like that can happen. Like we can say that there is a chance that can happen. And I've seen it happen multiple times before. Now, having almost $100,000 in revenue from, so let's do the return, by the way, everybody. For anybody doing math, let's say $90,000 in revenue divided by, let's just say 2,500 in ad spend. That's a 36 to 1 return. 36 to 1. And what I love about marketing and like is how it can be a safeguard for slowness. Like
Hmm.
people will say, "Ooh, this is normally a downtime." It might be a downtime based on you using the strategies that you typically used, but when you use marketing, there's a way that like your slow time can be your best time. I remember Claire, who you met in the mastermind,
Yeah.
last August was like super hot in Texas.
Hmm.
And then January is like after Thanksgiving and Christmas. And she was like, normally these are my two slowest months. And I had 700% more business year over year.
Wow.
And
That's
it's
amazing.
so cool because your slow times don't have to be your slow times.
Yeah.
It might be, the ads and marketing at a certain point, you begin to rely upon like a certain level of it working. Like there's always going to be seasonality. There'll always be up and down. Like you said, this is your season. So if there was a time to launch ads, like what a perfect time to go all in. So I'm interested to follow up with you and see like what are the slower months and how can we just safeguard that. But I'm
Yeah.
so excited for you. So uh, how much time do you feel like it took you, especially initially, to get some of this set up?
Yeah. I would say the first couple of weeks were the most like hands-on in the sense of like figuring out like the ad itself as far as like, did we have something that we could like turning a post into an ad? Like, did we have things like that that would work? Did we have content written, like all of those things. So the first couple weeks I would say were the most time intensive, like getting it right. And then also like, I mean, I would look at these every single day. So I think a lot of people like, and maybe I'm like crazy, but I'm literally
No.
the family group text, like, this is how many bookings we got today. Like, and maybe a little obsessive over it, but I feel like you kind of have to be that way at first to see like if it's working or if you need to tweak things or that kind of thing. And also we did like start out with our first couple of ads and then we would be like, okay, we've driven like a lot of traffic to the website, like now we need to launch our remarketing ads. And so it was looking at
Mm.
it and saying, okay, now what do we need to do next, like what do we need to do next. And so I think once you get everything in place, I mean, it can take up, just like, I don't know, like 10, 15 minutes of your day to like look at your numbers, look at your ads, like see what you need to tweak. But um, once they're in place and like running, it was basically like, do we want to add more budget or not at the end of the day to like add on
Yeah.
more? So,
Gosh, that's so helpful because a lot of women, they come to me and they say, "Hey, I'm busy."
mhm.
Like, yep. And also, And also, you're probably spending a lot of time trying to like use brute force and energy to get your bookings. And
Mm-hmm.
so this is where when people come to me, Jade, and I feel like you can see this now too, when people come to me and they say, "I don't know if I can afford this." Do you,
Mm-hmm.
when I sit here and do the math and I say she spent 2,700, 2,500, made 93,000 or 90,000, I have such conviction radiating from my being that says, you can't afford not to. Like, it is literally costing you
Yeah.
money to delay having the skill that Jade used to make a quick 90K last month,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
It's a
It,
no-brainer, I think. And also, I mean, like we'd kind of been like our big push has been like 4th of July and that kind of thing. And so now we're looking like, okay, what do we want to do after 4th of July? And like we, ran the report of like all the bookings we've had this month and the ad spend and all of that. And it's like, okay, well, we need to continue doing this. It's just a matter of like, what are we going to tweak so that it makes sense for like our next like initiative or whatever. Um, and so I think it kind of you figure out like, oh, this needs to be a part of our strategy, like long term. It doesn't have to be like it's not a quick fix. It's like something we can continue to like refine and like duplicate success on, which is awesome. So
yeah, I wanted to ask you what your goals were because one of the things I've been meaning to talk to you about, which I'll just share with you here, is a part of me wants you to consider like doubling your budget and just figuring out another like let's spend 5K next month and
yeah,
can we get 150K? Like those
yeah.
because I want to see where the diminishing returns are, or is there just so much demand that we could spend 5K and could up the revenue? So I'm curious, like what are your goals like moving forward with ads?
Yeah. So as far as like ads we want to run, I think like one of the things that we were talking about was and like my family and I were talking about is like we honestly have a lot of RV sites that are like
Mm,
booked out. So we're feeling like really good about those. So it's just a matter of like how can we drive more traffic to our lodgings because those continue to be like what I think we still want to see like more bookings in because
mm,
RVs are like I don't know, they're just like easy for us. They're like people love them. You know what I mean? And I think it's
yeah.
like pushing the tiny houses and the glamping tents, which I think will be great for fall. Like that's our kind of
Yeah,
vision because it's so hot in Alabama in the summer. And like the glamping tents have AC, but like it's still hot and we totally get that. And so it's like that'll be perfect though for as the weather starts to cool off to implement basically ads for the specific types of lodging to really make I think those feel like attract the right kind of person for that specific stay.
totally. There's the fall and the video content and like the vibe that you can
Yeah.
create for those covered wagons even or those tiny
Yeah.
houses. It's gonna be wonderful. And you have fire pits too, right? So even better. The fall,
Yeah, so it'll have like a really like cozy like fall feel I think when we start doing
yeah,
content around that specifically. So yeah, I'm really excited. There's a lot of opportunity that we can see as far as like, scaling the ad budget or, making ads like targeting specific types of lodgings and everything. So we're really excited to kind of take what we've learned from this month and just iterate and again.
yeah. Jade, would you be opposed to sharing just a one little snippet of that text that your dad sent you?
Oh, yeah.
That
Um,
one I'm gonna try to find it too. So y'all, while she tries to pull this up, it's a family business, right? And so Jade has been investing in herself consistently and working hard to learn new skills consistently and just being so all in on this business while she also has her own business. So one of my favorite moments, and this is why the reason I'm sharing this with you is because this is why I believe so strongly that you marketing your business, you can't afford not to, is because of moments like what like Jade is about to share. But her dad, did you find the message?
yeah, I found it.
Okay. I'd love to
Yeah.
hear it.
Yeah, so he's like been like a big mentor for me in terms of business and um he's who I always go to, right? For like business advice, or I'm like, what should I do? Like, what do you think?
Yeah.
So I sent him the ads and everything and like the results we were getting, and he was just like, I'm so proud of the business person you've become and continue to become. And like that just means so much as like, when your mentor like tells you that, you're just like, oh, so it gets me every time. But yeah, so it's been a really like awesome kind of month to just like go through this like as our family and like experience like the results. And um they kind of like, I always go to my family as far as like asking them like for advice on like when I invest in things or when I join things. I'm like, what do you think? Like, what are your thoughts? And so they were like, yeah, I mean, if you can, in terms of like before I signed up for the mastermind, they were like, yeah, I mean, if you can learn something that's going to grow your business, like, go for it. And so I was like, well, I'm going to like use this for like our stuff too.
Mm.
And so just being able to like actually like take action on that and like get results on it has been huge for me. So,
Yeah, that's what it's all about. I mean, and I think one of the things that I loved about the message he sent you was the businesswoman that like you've become,
yeah.
because you have become a different person over the
Yeah.
last year. Like the
Yeah.
way you show up, and I mean the confidence that you get too when you
Yeah.
have this success, it's like, man, you're so sold that the Angler's Point is
Yeah.
the best place to be, you know?
100%.
I'm so
Yeah.
proud of you.
Thank you.
Well, any last thoughts about just learning the marketing, how it's been, just how you're feeling? I would just any final thoughts about just this experience so far?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's been, if you're really looking to like, if you feel like you're doing all the right things, in my opinion, like I feel like in my business and also in like Angler's Point, like we were doing all of the right things. You know what I mean? You have the right website in place, or you have strategies in place, and you're getting results but maybe incrementally, and you want to scale like what you're doing. Like, to me it's a no-brainer to work with Ashley, either with her program or honestly you should do the mastermind if you really want to see the impact. But I mean, to me, that's just the place to be, is like if you're just ready to take what you're already doing and like 10x it. I mean, that's what's possible. And I was bought into like what Ashley like teaches, and I knew that I was going to see results from working with her, but I feel like I didn't know like how quickly it could happen. And so I'm just really excited to be here for the rest of the year and work with you and see what we can do next.
Yeah, Jade, I appreciate you so much. Jade is my dream client for everyone listening. She's the person that's willing to do the work, and she's the person that's willing to get feedback, and she believes in what she's offering. So
Mm-hmm.
when I see someone, they're like, "Hey, I'm already having some success, and I'll take feedback, and I'll do the work, and I follow this, and I'll be consistent, and I'll have a good mindset." Like you have it all. You are the person that it works for.
Mm-hmm.
And people have asked me, they're like, who doesn't get results? And I was like, oh, plenty of people, because plenty of people won't do the work. Plenty of the people will launch ads for 5 minutes. They don't get instant success, honestly, like you did. You got great success quickly, but you were still pivoting. And
Yeah.
some people aren't willing to kind of hang in there when they're not getting those results initially. And I remember you even experienced a little bit of that when you were doing the ads for your business. Like it took a
Oh
couple
yeah.
$100s before you got a quality lead for the website.
100%. Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, just because like everything has been like dream scenario for Angler's Point, like even for my business, which is very different from a vacation rental company, like branding and web design, it's taking some time to get the right ads set up for my business. And I know, which it kind of can be a mind like set thing where you're like, oh man, like Wangler's Point just did so well, like what am I doing wrong? But it's like,
Yeah.
I'm not, it's just part of the process. It's just learning and seeing like what works for different industries and different types of clients, because that client is way different than who my branding and web design client. And so it's just figuring out what's going to work and being willing to try things and to kind of ride it out when you're kind of trying to see like what's going to hit and figure out what you need to tweak. And to me, that's what's so valuable about having you, because you can kind of help me see like, okay, this is what we could do, or it's going to work. We just need more time, or maybe I should spend more money. Like, there's just a lot of different ways to go about it. And yeah, I think you just have to be willing to be uncomfortable a lot of times.
Amen. You really have to be, because
Yeah.
like it's really comfortable when like you turn your ads on and you're like, man, this is a rocket ship. But it's
Yeah.
also like it takes time and mental like fortitude to get through those months where you're like, I'm spending, but we're break even, or I'm spending, I'm in a little negative. But eventually it all pans out in the end because marketing is just math. It's not magic. It's just, hey, let's figure out how to get in front of the right people and lean into that. And it just takes a little bit of time. And so I'm so proud of you for just all the work you did on your business and on English Point. So Jade, before we wrap it up, will you tell everybody? I mean, there's women right now listening that are like, hey, I have a website. I might need it to perform better. And I feel like the advantage of working with Jade is not only is she like your like chief branding officer and helps with copy and branding and the website and all your social assets, like she can do it all for you. But she also, in my opinion, is the best because she's got the marketing matters background. Like she has some of this other marketing strategy and elements that most people don't have. And she also has sales skills. Like she is the dream. If somebody's going to make a website, how perfect that this person is great at what they do and has sales and has marketing. And you even offer now some of these marketing services that you've learned from the program. Like it's just a dream. So if people were to work with you, Jade, where's the best? I think you mentioned you have an audit. Can you tell people like what that is? Because that's a great first step, right?
Yes. So we have a free like DIY brand and website audit, which will take you step by step through reviewing all of your marketing materials, your branding, your website. And it's just almost like a little checklist to kind of see where things are, what's working really well for you, and what could be improved so that you know exactly what to prioritize when it comes to your branding and your website, and kind of gives you a good picture of how you can just really elevate everything. From the start. So whether you're trying to do that on your own or if you want to work with us, we can kind of get a great sense of what you have in place and how we can take that to the next level so that you're really proud of how you're putting yourself out there on your website and brand.
Yeah, your messaging and branding matters so much. So below this podcast and YouTube video, I'll put a link, number one, to English Point so that people can go stay. And number two, I'll put your audit so that people can link to it and just do that DIY audit because I feel like that will be so helpful. So super thankful. I'll see y'all on the next episode.